Okay, thanks everybody for joining. We'll call to order our November Finance and Administration Committee meeting. First up on our agenda, we've got an update from the University District PDA, and Juliet Sinistera, the director of the PDA, is here to give us that update.
Great.
Take it away.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for having me here today. I think I know most of you. I'm the CEO of the Spokane University District. And as you know, we consist of two entities, a PDA as well as a 501c3. And the UD works closely with universities, with the hospitals, with community stakeholders, and really developing a strong vision for an innovation district in Spokane. So with that, I'm going to give you some updates around what we've been up to the last few years. Let's see. There we go. Thank you. So in 2022, we actually started some community outreach. We created 5 task forces to look at 5 different key areas within the UD and really involve kind of larger community partners to help inform how we prioritize investments within the district over the next 16 to 20 years. So out of that came this UVision 2044 and those 3 goals that are listed there. So the board worked really hard, and we have this prioritized listing on our website, which we're starting to implement now. And I'm going to go over some of the things that we are moving forward with. So go ahead. Some of the small things. Right now we have an MOU in place with Spokane River Forum. We're doing some initial pre-design. We're supporting that with them, looking at a kayak put-in near the Iron Bridge, just north of Noli. And City Parks and Rec is also involved with this. We will be going after some RCO dollars probably in 2026. So go ahead. Another thing we did recently is we invested in 19 street lights within the district. We worked with the Vista Utilities and our business committee to kind of walk the district, identify really dark areas within the district. We identified, I think, 15 on the south sub area, and then another 4 kind of near Noli again, near the Centennial Trail over there. So those are actually under contract. They are going to be being installed in the next few months. And then the UD will be paying an annual subscription for those. Oh, and then we also installed 3 new lights for Eastern Washington, or not lights, new signage for Eastern Washington as well. Next. This next year, we plan to implement our new banner design. We want to do a pilot along MLK Way on the large lampposts, so that will be happening, so look forward to that. And then kind of a larger project that you may have heard rumblings about is we have had a right of first offer to purchase 7 parcels from Avista, and we're calling that the 400 block. As you can see on the map on the upper right, the yellow is those 7 parcels. And technically, the ROFO does expire at the end of this year. We've had that in place for 3 years. We've done a number of studies. We released an RFP at one point to find a private developer to do a public-private partnership around a large parking structure. With the changing economic environments, it just didn't pencil out. And so right now, we actually just received a $200,000 grant from Commerce to do a pre-design study on those parcels. And we have a variety of community partners that are a part of that. So there's a group that's raised about $1.5 million looking at doing a world-class climbing gym. We're looking at them coming in along with potentially a UD rec center that would support that. We're looking at a child care facility on site, co-working space. Evergreen Bioscience is studying kind of a smaller footprint on this site with their incubation labs. Whitworth is looking at potentially relocating their continuing ed and MBA. And then Spokane Sports is looking at relocating as well. So we issued an RFQ this summer. We selected Methuen, their architectural team, to do this, and the studies are underway. So I'll just kind of click through those. This is kind of an initial axon, kind of looking at how those blocks might play out. This is looking at the entire block. There are 2 other additional property owners on the block. One of which is for sale right now, and the other 2 are engaged in this kind of design study as well. And one of the big things that Methuen identified was potentially closing down Riverside Avenue and creating kind of a connected park there. There's city property to the north that supports the CSO tanks. So this really looks at kind of this integrated kind of green space center around the south landing of the UD. And I have talked with city staff about this, particularly engineering and integrated capital, and they are supportive of potentially studying this at this point in time. So that's where we're at right now. And then we've been doing some kind of space analysis of how this might play out with that Commerce grant. Yep.
If you close Riverside, how would that affect access to Boxcar?
They would still be fine through Grant Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the city's main concern, that nothing would be landlocked, and it wouldn't be. So, yeah. So these are some of the initial floor plans. We are looking at about 100 car parks on site as well. That seems to be kind of a sweet spot that is affordable when you're trying to create on-site parking. But go ahead. Next slide. Public event space would be a part of this. That would be part of that co-working space and shared with all the tenants. And then kind of that large climbing area would kind of really be this kind of focal point as you came off the bridge and kind of creating that center for the UD. Another area that we just received another grant from the state on is an idea of around a U incubation village. So we received a feasibility study grant from CURB, the Community Economic Revitalization Board. And this is kind of this has come out of a group of conversations with stakeholders over the last couple of years. Actually, the city got a hold of me saying there's a lot of people wanting to do maker spaces that are more like reskilling centers, carpentry, welding based, some fine arts. So we've pulled about 20 folks together and have been meeting monthly. Going after this grant was sort of that outcome. But really it creates ideally sort of a destination within the UD. It again brings in a lot of different community partners, but it also supports job incubation, small business incubation, and then arts as well. So go ahead. And these are all of the folks that are involved. So there's 4 anchor tenants kind of above. We're also looking at potentially a food processing plant on site, which would be fantastic for job creation. And then Ahana is kind of a key partner in the U Incubation Village, where they would potentially run a folk market and potentially also have a business boot camp that would really provide wraparound support services to those startup businesses. And the community colleges are also coming in as part of the study, looking at how a green jobs reskilling center could be a part of this. So that'll get started early next year. Next. 2 other things. This next year, we're going to be looking at complete street design. I wanted to show we're focusing on Main and Sherman and potentially going after transportation improvement dollars in the next few years with that. Main Avenue, this is a study done in 2017 led by the DSP, the UD, the city, and Jim Frank from Greenstone Homes, looking at how you could really build out Main Avenue to support housing along Main. So this is really going to kind of inform the type of work that we're going to be doing. But go ahead, Shay, sorry. I should check and see if it's working. Again, it's focusing on improved sidewalks, activating the street with dining and people, pedestrian corridors. I went the wrong way. I got it. Again, this is some of that imagery. So we're, as we move forward on the design for the TOD grants, we're really going to be looking at the existing fabric now. This was before the city line went in. This is before the center parking, and so we'll be building on that in a different way, but taking these same concepts. And then you can kind of see the activation with the bike ped, the improved sidewalks, and then the nature-based infrastructure as well. And then the big thing I wanted to close with is give you an overview of our U District conceptual plan. So we have been working with Methuen, another Methuen portion of their team, to do a large planning study, trying to pull together all of the studies that the UD has done over the last few years and create visuals. So it's very easy when I'm talking with developers or grant funders or any other folks in the community where we're headed, what we're wanting to do. And so we're also really wanting to build our presence as this innovation district and, a district that focuses on energy and life sciences and community health as well as sustainability. And so we utilize the Just Communities Protocol, which used to be eco-district certification, but it really looks at both climate and racial justice and how that informs urban design and planning. And we did tons of outreach. We started with a large groundwork forum in early June. We engaged the UDDA board. We met with city staff. We had 2 open houses. We did a focus group actually with folks from the House of Charity and the Havens, and we conducted interviews as well. And this is some of the imagery from those events. And really there were kind of 6 main takeaways from what we got from the community input, they aligned very nicely with our UVision 2044. And I should remind folks too, this is a conceptual plan. We're calling it Vision 2065. Urbanism is not quick, it takes time. So this is ideally something we're working towards over the next 40 years. And as we find funding, we can start to implement things, but it's not like a quick fix. So, but as you can see, multicultural gathering and food is big. The river is a family member. Healing around racial equity, houselessness and opioid issues, pedestrian, cyclists, and transit is big, positively impact adjacent districts, and food sovereignty, as well as nature-based model. So Methuen came back with kind of 6 key districts that they focused on, or areas within the district, and I'm going to go through those now really quickly. I'm just going to focus on 4. First is kind of the Cycle of Life Food Hub. This would be north of the river, kind of near Noli, east of Gonzaga. This really kind of builds on the South Logan TOD work as well, but it really starts to look at, creating kind of a center around local food production, urban agriculture, potential even research around this food hub. Gonzaga has talked a lot about community gardens as well. We are also starting to introduce this idea of blue-green streets and kind of nature-based infrastructure, and how through engagement of biologists and geologists and city planning, you can start to be really thoughtful around how stormwater runoff and rain gardens can be created, similar to what's happening along Lincoln, but that's about 15 years old at this point in time. So the technology and the education around how to do these right has really grown exponentially. But what it does is it really allows water to be used in a very localized way to support green infrastructure, trees, plant life, things that actually make districts feel cooler, more park-like, more enjoyable. And they also boost community health as well. So this is kind of that center there. And this, oops, wrong way. Here's an image kind of looking back at a potential like food production and distribution center and innovation hub, and some of like the blue streets and bioswales connected to a park and an activated plaza. Another area is the Main Avenue Arts Culture Corridor. So this is really, again, building on that study along Main Avenue. How can we create kind of this gateway connecting the downtown back to WSU, looking at potentially like an arts center along with an environmental learning center, kind of bookending connections back into WSU campus, and how that can kind of start to activate the street there. And that starts to show some of that imagery. And this is the Multicultural Maker District. So this would kind of be building on that incubation village. Starts to show some of the data that we're dealing with right now. It's one of the most impoverished parts of the city, along Division and Cowley and Pine there. But how we can start to, again, create a place around arts and that supports racial diversity, as well as job creation and reskilling. And then this is another concept, is the notion of an innovation commons and legacy loop. So again, these are the big ideas, but this is kind of building on that idea of a lid over I-90. We did stay in contact with WashDOT on where they're kind of thinking about the lid over East Sprague. But this would be a kind of a complement to that. It wouldn't be in lieu of that or try and take the place of that. But it is a way that the UD potentially could really better connect back to South Perry and the medical district with kind of more higher-rise buildings that really support life sciences innovation. And there's that image there. And Sprague Way Trail. This is really looking at how we could rethink Sprague Way, which connects 3rd down to Sprague, actually, and it does technically go all the way down to the river. It's kind of left over from the old highway. How could we rethink this as almost this urban park, similar to like the High Line in New York City, becomes a destination that really celebrates nature and connectivity throughout the district. And this starts to show some of that imagery, how that could be rethunk in the next 40 years. And we have started looking at maintenance, like nationwide, they're actually finding out when you're doing these in a very thoughtful way and you're able to kind of pull that water in at a very localized level, you're actually reducing maintenance costs by quite a bit. I think about 42% less, and environmental impact increases substantially. And then finally, we did some work with Avista and EDO on thinking, how can we be really innovative about our energy district? We have technically the 5 smartest blocks in North America right now that are building on the Catalyst building. How can we expand that to a district level thought process? So things like a district thermal energy study where you're starting to use waste heat to support job creation or low-income housing, heat costs, but also things like sewer heat recovery and like expanded open and closed geothermal systems. So with that, that's where I'm at. So, yeah.
Thank you, Julie, and I'm honored to serve on the board for the U District PDA. A couple of things. First, I know that with this conceptual plan, you want to include the Old Liberty Park, like we call our own Stonehenge, as you do the loop. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. My challenge is, and I support this, is once again, East Central is being peeled off in pieces, and East Central proper, what we call it, is still left out of any economic development. So I just tell you, our district is challenged with that. Yeah. We have the Perry districts peeled off. We have the East Sprague business districts that's peeled off. We have the U district that's peeled off, which are all the economic corridors for East Central. And then once again, nothing is left currently for the East Fifth Avenue business district. So I'm hoping that as our sub-area planning goes forward, we can look at these entities that once again have shortchanged a marginalized neighborhood for lack of services and funding. Again, I believe using our demographics of the whole East Central to fund projects that do not benefit us in the East Central neighborhood. So just want you to know, I'm challenged with that. Glad to be supportive, but I just want to keep that in front of everybody, that continues to be an issue.
Yeah, thank you for that. I support that wholeheartedly. It is hard to kind of read some of this down here, but there were thoughts about along Second in particular, like creating kind of infill for BIPOC businesses that would build off that U Incubation Village that could potentially link back to East Central, as well as even where the Office Depot site is. Again, this is the next 40 years, so potentially having like maybe a green jobs training center or some type of economic uplift opportunities that on the edge that started to kind of provide better connectivity back to East Central. I'm always stymied because I can only put my money within our boundaries, but it is like being very thoughtful about those edge conditions is very important. Right.
So Julia, I'm wondering what's the pay for? I mean, do you imagine that the tax revenue you generate as a PDA is going to be enough to, because I imagine you're going to have to purchase quite a bit of land to convert to the ag sort of stuff that you're talking about, and just what does that look like?
Yeah, so this next year, we want to start to be really strategic about how we move forward financially. We did just pursue a large EPA grant around nature-based infrastructure. So something like that could be a nice kickstart, and doing a pilot and really looking at how could this work and create a nice substantial investment in the district. That said, I did get approved from the board to do a district development incentive study next year. So looking at how can we incentivize some of this. As a district, we can create our own incentives. We have to pay for them, of course. But then also thinking strategic about land acquisition, creating a strategy around that, and then how we're going to fund that. We have, we can bond, but we have to also be showing that we're going to be able to pay that money back. And then we're also looking at even like creating a UD investment fund. So I think there might be a variety of different tools. We're also going to be continue to go after grants. So, any kind of grant funding that I can tap into at state or federal level that could help support what we're trying to do, we're going to be leveraging as well. Okay. So,
and then just more short term to medium term, not 40 years out, parking. I continue to hear all kinds of frustration, lack of a garage being built, stuff like that. Is there plans in place for a garage? What's the future look like there?
So I am meeting regularly with city parking staff. They just were able to finish their license plate reading data collection within the UD. So they're going to be presenting to the board, I think in February, that data. And in talking with them, you know, again, parking garages, they're just incredibly cost prohibitive right now, and they don't have any return on investment. So they're very difficult to get developed. And I know the city is looking at that within the downtown. So I'm staying in the loop on that, how we could potentially be thoughtful about that. You know, one of the cheapest way we could increase parking is to increase the curbside or street level parking. So, for instance, city staff have identified First Avenue is a great street where you could do the center angle parking similar to Main Avenue. So that may be something we could do as a quick fix. You know, it's not a long-term solve by any means, but it could start to add some additional spaces right off the bat. And then I think we do, you know, probably in the next year we need to be having a parking management strategy. And it is tricky, you know, because small businesses in the area, they're not happy with the increase in students and residents that are parking in front of their businesses, but then they also don't want to have paid parking. So it's, you know, there's going to be some education that needs to happen too.
Well,
so.
I think the other issue, and I think we've talked about this in the past, but once Lot C develops and you no longer have any parking there, I mean, it's going to be a serious issue for all those businesses in that corridor, not just the U District, but the South U District as well, primarily. And so a garage on the north side of the bridge is probably the absolute best outcome. And I know that there's interest in public-private partnerships to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just hoping that that's in the works because, you know, not everybody's going to ride their bike from across, you know, the county to get to the U District for school. So
very true. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Julie, could you speak to, we did do a parking garage study that was just completed.
Yeah,
so
that was
you might
pre-COVID. Yeah.
That was pre-COVID, so you might want to speak to what kind of drove our thinking from the garage.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, the recommendation was that the UD needed about 400 additional car parks. And, you know, since that time, you know, I think with Eastern coming into Catalyst, that has kind of changed things a bit too. WSU has now a surplus of parking on their lot, on all of their lots, which they didn't have pre-COVID. So they do have about 300 surplus parks right now that could be leased out to private entities. There are also a lot of surface lots that could be looped in. You know, I think more and more we're seeing the QR codes on private lots that work really well in the interim. We haven't revisited that 400 car park yet, but you know, it's probably still around that around maybe 200 that we need right in that area.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the South UD we have prohibitions on more surface parking lots. I don't know about the U District itself, but the South UD, that's in the plan. So
well, just as existing, you know, taking advantage of what's there right now. Ideally, we'd like to see those built out, but
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Main Avenue plan I think is good, but I don't believe there's a ton of support for that going from where you were saying all the way through downtown, right?
You're right. Yeah, I would be looking at it from Brown to Pine.
Okay.
So yeah, that study went from Washington all the way to Pine. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think the thing I'm most excited about is the interconnectivity of the district, particularly when it comes to around the Catalyst building and the different ways that we're finding ways to save and conserve energy there and to share and to shift. Is that, where are we at in that project to where is that something that can be expanded in the city?
Like the 5 smartest blocks?
Yeah.
So that 400 block that we're studying right now, McKinstry is on that team with Methuen, and Emerald has given us the go-ahead to study linking that block into those 5 smartest blocks. And it, you know, so there's much more capacity still than the 2 that are there to be a part of that. It was interesting when we met with John Gibson from Scott Morris, Energy Innovation, and EDO. They do see building on that, but then they also, a lot of the shift right now too is really understanding energy use and where's the waste energy, particularly coming from institutions, that then can be funneled in different ways, like rerouted. So it's a really easy way for a district to become like net zero energy because you're just taking waste heat and then actually using it. So that was kind of what they prioritized at this time, but I do think that localized grid is still really important as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that that's something once we get that going, again, I think with the legacy of Spokane being, you know, clean and healthy and all that, I think that that's going to be, you know, a big part of the future of us moving forward is showing people how they can, connect the city to take this waste and make it something useful. So
Yeah, we'd like to be kind of the poster child for efficient energy use. So,
Okay.
great.
Juliet, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Is Samantha ready?
She's online.
All right. Well, we will jump over to our multi-care update with Samantha Clark.
I'm going to share my screen here. Can I get a verbal that folks can see this?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, everybody. Again, I'm Samantha Clark, Assistant Vice President of Strategy and Business Development for MultiCare's Behavioral Health Network. I'm here to give you a quick update on our Northeast Community Center Clinic that we opened last year. So just as background, again, this is our first year review of our first clinic that we opened in Spokane, and that was just last year on October 4th of 2023. We're located in what was previously the Hilliard Public Library building on the Northeast Community Center campus. Here are some photos of Dave Richardson, Executive Director of the Northeast Community Center campus, way back when, with renderings of design when our clinic was just a concept, all the way through our ribbon cutting, and then here's a photo of our new branded building today. So again, our services, we provide individual and family therapy as well as peer services and medication management for people of all insurance types, ages 6 years and above. We provide in-person and virtual options and have just become open to walk-in appointments during our business hours. We have 21 offices and staff who fill those offices, ranging from mental health therapists to certified peer counselors, access specialists, so folks working our front door, our patient access phones, et cetera, front desk, medical assistants, and psychiatric advanced nurse practitioners. And in our first year, we have served over 2,400 unique lives here in Spokane and provided more than 16,000 visits to this region. So a little bit about who we're serving. I know it might be a little bit small, but this is a breakdown on the left of our age. And so you'll see that the biggest age gap that we're serving are adults between 18 years and 40 years old. That's about half of who we see. So a lot of working class folks, a lot of folks who have full-time jobs, who have kids, a lot of folks who are in the sandwich generation of having kids themselves and caring for aging adults in their lives. The second most common age range that we're serving is that 40 to 65 years old, followed by individuals who are less than 18, and then folks who are 65 years and older. And then to the right, this is reported gender identity. So you'll see in this blue bar that 66% of our individuals seen identify as female, 30% identify as male, and then we do have a couple of other points in here of folks who either chose not to answer or in this yellow chose an alternative answer to that response. And then individuals served, this is a breakdown of insurance. And so again, in this green bar, you'll see that just under half of our population served has Medicaid, and this includes straight Medicaid and any Washington State Apple Health Insurance, so the Washington Managed Medicaid insurances. Following very close behind is commercially insured individuals at 40%, and then Medicare or Medicare Advantage at 10%, and then we have a couple of percentages of self-pay and some other folks who are none of the above. I will say that this is a slightly more competitive percentage between Medicaid and commercially insured folks than we thought. I think we had assumed that we would serve more Medicaid insured individuals, but I think that this was a good indicator that access to behavioral health care for commercially insured as well as Medicaid insured individuals is struggling. And this might be difficult to see, but I'll walk you through this. But this is percentage of population by postal code. So our top 10 zip codes, who are we serving in terms of geography? As a reminder, this little gold star is the physical location of our clinic. And you'll see that actually our highest percentage zip code that we serve is surrounded in this Moran Prairie, Glen Rose, kind of south-Southville region, and then followed by the immediate proximity of the Hilliard neighborhood, but then all the way out to Cheney and Medical Lake and Spokane Valley and up north towards Indian Trail and 5 Mile. So a pretty great swath of spread, and something that shows us that we need to continue growing behavioral health services in our region. Like I said, we do offer virtual services, and certainly that is taken into account when we look at the zip code and the spread of geography. And we have heard from folks who are in Spokane Valley and Liberty Lake that many individuals would like to access care, but do not want to have virtual services. And so as we look at growth, we are looking along the I-90 corridor and how we can better serve individuals in these overlying populations who wish to receive in-person treatment. And so outcomes so far, things that we are proud of. We have pretty aggressive assumptions in multi-care on what impact we're going to have in our years of operation. And this clinic has, frankly, outperformed where we thought we would be in its first year. And so we are 1,200 visits beyond expectations, but 1,200 visits beyond where we thought we would be ending the first year of operations. 2 therapists beyond expectations, which 2 might seem like a small number, but in today's world with behavioral health workforce shortage, 2 is a reason to celebrate. And so we've been more successful recruiting individuals than we thought we would be. In terms of access to care, we have a 3.4-day average from the time someone requests service, the time that we're able to get them into an intake appointment with a therapist, and then 16 days on average from that first phone call request for service through that intake to their first treatment session or first follow-up session. And that is calendar days, not business days. That 16.8 days is much better than industry standard, and we're seeing industry standard for in-person services can last anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and so we're proud about that. And then at the end, we have a highly engaged team. We've had almost no turnover in our first year. The turnover that we have had is because folks have moved because of family reasons and would have stayed with us otherwise. And so really excited about the progress that we've seen. And then to the right of the screen, we have a lot more left to do. And so what's next for Multicare Behavioral Health in the Spokane region? We are implementing a client engagement survey. It's something that we have the standard in operation. And so we'll be deploying that to ensure that we're collecting feedback and the voices of the individuals that we're serving. We are looking to integrate behavioral health therapists, not just within clinics like these, but also within our primary care clinics. And so we have about 10 clinics within Multicare's Rockwood Medical Group in primary care and pediatrics that we are recruiting for so we can have integrated behavioral health within the medical setting. And you may have heard we are endeavoring to open an inpatient behavioral health unit within Multicare's Deaconess Hospital. We did receive the Department of Commerce funds for that and are busy underway trying to get an architect and bringing them in for test fit and design. We are also having conversations primarily at this point with the Meade School District on how we can have school-based contracts and bring therapy on-site and in person to our schools. And excitedly, we are already looking towards a second location to bring another outpatient behavioral health setting. And as I mentioned, really targeting that east I-90 area in Spokane Valley, in Liberty Lake. As we share, there are a lot of individuals in those parts of our community who would like to have in-person services, who just don't want to make the drive or can't for feasibility. And so that is where we will spend much of 2025 in terms of behavioral health growth here in the Inland Northwest. And with that, I'd love to take your question.
Questions for Samantha? Samantha, I guess the only question I have is, and thank you very much for the presentation. It's really great to see that it's working so well. With regards to the therapists that you've been able to increase, can you speak at all to just what sort of incentives or what you think is making it a little easier for you to recruit with regards to this facility?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've had to dig really deep, actually, to remain competitive. I think oftentimes people think of Multicare as being a large organization, but we really do have to strive to stay competitive for behavioral health therapists, especially for those who are associate licensed or fully licensed. And so just this year, our compensation packages have been refreshed. And so what I mean by that is this year we did a 2 salary grade increase, which works out to be a 7% increase in the hourly rates and the salaries that we're paying all of our therapist job families. We also have a client service hours or productivity incentives compensation package. And so for folks who are reaching a certain target of client-based hours on a monthly basis, they will get a stipend or a bonus on top of their salary. We also have relocation assistance. We have education programs. And I would say if you asked our team working at Northeast Community Center, you know, the intangibles are that they enjoy what they do. We have a lot of folks who have wanted to provide care in their hometown. We have therapists who grew up in Hilliard. We have therapists who went to school in Spokane. And for them, being able to serve their communities, being able to serve in a space where they feel respected and supported and like they can have fun and make a difference has made all the difference to them. And so while I think that compensation has been an important factor of staying competitive, it's the intangibles of their engagement and their feeling like they're giving back that really keep them with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Councilmember?
A quick question. Thank you for the work you do. I know behavioral health is hard to obtain in our city, and it's a big issue as well. I do have a question. So your highest percentage of for patients, which is 9% in the Moran Prairie area, and your demographic of age is between 18 and 40, and you stated that you will start putting an office like in the Meade area or Meade School District. Why in that area and not where you have the highest percentage of patients, instead where you really don't? Does that make sense? Like what research led you or MultiCare to start the office in Meade and not where you have the highest patients?
Yes. So specifically, it was the Meade School District who reached out to us in hopes that we would look at a couple of their schools because right now they feel like they have a gap in terms of access to behavioral health. We could look more in terms of the population who are coming to us from Moran Prairie. I suspect what that is that we have a integrated behavioral health therapist at Rockwood Moran Prairie Internal Medicine. And so we have a peds clinic and an internal medicine clinic there, and they generate a lot of referrals. And so we are recruiting for that pediatric clinic. So I think that why we're seeing such a hot spot coming from Moran Prairie is through those clinics that we have. And so, like I said, we are recruiting for them. We'll see as we recruit and start to provide more services within our existing clinics in Moran Prairie if the population coming to the Northeast Community Center continues to be really high, or if that demand is better addressed through those therapists that we recruit. But it is a good call out that as we look at different populations and pockets, what that allows us to do is be a little bit more targeted towards our community engagement and our growth strategies. I'll be honest, I have yet to reach out to the schools in those areas to ask them what is their access to behavioral health like. So far, we've been fortunate enough to have folks reach out to us, but that's a good call. But now that we have this information on zip codes and percentage of our population served, that we should be reaching out to understand what are the needs in that specific part of the community.
Okay. Thank you. Samantha, thank you very much for that presentation. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, Alex. You want to come up with Josh? We're going to do a quick demonstration of a translation tool that's been worked on here at the city.
So Josh will be doing the presenting and running through the demo, but this has been a project I think we've been working on for about a year, being funded by ARPA funds. We started looking at AI translation tools when Google came in and was showing some of their tools that they have. This is a very beta form, so if staff does use this, we do have to put a disclaimer that it has been AI translated, and really being able to choose which engine we're using to do that. We continue, or by we, Josh continues to look for staff volunteers that speak a different language to kind of oversee, or not oversee, but see how effective the translations are.
Quality control.
Yep, quality control. And so that's something that we keep on doing. And then City Council, we've identified our vital documents, and we're working with Web to see kind of where they live now that we have a tool that can kind of start doing some of the translations for us.
And then Alex, the goal is that this will improve over time as it moves from beta to more of a permanent type program.
Yeah, I
That's
think
correct. My mic on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Josh, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so what we've tried to do here, and this is what we consider to be phase one of our translation access for the City of Spokane's website. And if you don't know me, I'm the Web Technologies Manager here at the City of Spokane, and I'm Josh Bunton. And so everything you see on the Frontline website is the team that I manage, and we produce all of those tools. So, and so one of these tools is phase one for this language translation tool. And in phase one, our goal was to create a tool for city staff to use to translate not just text, but documents as well. And really our goal was not, kind of like a Google Translate, but something that you could upload just about any document to. So an example would be brochures, city council agendas, maps with text on it. And what's made this possible is all of the AI translation services that are now currently available. So the challenge was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, this technology wasn't there. And if you would have came to my team and said, hey, can we create a tool like this? I would have said, no, it's just not possible. So with this tool, there's 2 major sections. There's one that just translating for text, and we've got them listed here. And I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit of this here. And I want to grab some text from the city website. And so we have some text here on a banner that talks about the garbage pickup over the holiday. And so I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to put it in this box here. And we've all seen this, right? We've all gone to Google Translate and we've done this before. But really it's a tool focused on the city employees and what our preferred languages are. And you can see we have those preferred languages there. But a city employee could also translate to just about any language that's available in the AI translation service. And so we're going to translate to Spanish. We're going to translate from English to Spanish. And there you go, you have a translation. So I know that's a little bit small, but that's just the same as what you would see on Google Translate. But what we've done is, and this is what I think is very unique for the city of Spokane, and maybe for any jurisdiction, it's not just Google Translate, but we're taking all of the AI translation engines and we're placing them in one tool. So as you can see at the top here, we also have DeepL, which is also a translation tool out on that you can pay for as a pay-for service. We've also integrated that into this tool as well. What you don't see here is the Google Translate. That has been the hardest integration for us, but we'll also have that one this week as well. So we didn't have it for the demo. They wanted to deploy today, but as you guys know, I wouldn't want to do a demo with a new deployment. So we left the Google Translate one off there for today. And as you can see, the DeepL translation has context as well as other things that can be added to the translation. So, and this is just for text translation. And then for the document translations, we did detail a little bit out here because this does actually cost money to do the translations. And so as people upload documents and do translations, there's a cost to it. But as you can see here, the costs are very minimal. And so we're talking about $20 for 1 million characters. And so even we've done testing for maybe 3 or 4 months already. And I don't think we spent more than $30 or $40 on all the translation testing that we've done. So it gives you a little bit of an example of the cost there. So, Alex, did we have a document that we wanted to pick to do a translation?
Yep.
Councilmember Cathcart, so as Shay's bringing it up, so this was the brainchild of council. So how will this be able to be deployed throughout the entire organization by departments? What would that look like? Have we got to that conversation yet? As we look at language translations, I know it was proposal in the budget for each department to have translation funding, but based on the cost, he said, I'd like to know a little bit more of how departments would plan to use it as they continue to look for that.
Well, that's what they're supposed to be doing for the last year is planning to use it. I don't think that's happened, but there's some talk about some delaying some dates as a result, which will probably happen. But Yeah, the goal is that, assuming we push these dates back, that they will have the opportunity then to both plan around the vital documents from their department that need to be translated, and then what that plan going forward would be with how, on a regular basis, they would have access to this for the public. So I think it's more the public-facing departments, particularly at first. And Parks is already doing a lot of this, Planning's doing a lot of it, but that would be the goal. And so hopefully we're able to get those things going amongst all the different divisions. And we are talking about putting a little bit of resource in the budget for each division to be able to allocate to their departments to get this work done in the next 6 months.
So this is a document translation, and so I've just uploaded this translation testing instructions to the site. What's happening here is we're uploading to the Azure cloud, and it's going to do the AI translation there, and then when it's finished, it's going to come back down and be available for us to download and view. So hopefully this will go pretty quick. They do take about a minute or two to complete, and there it is. And if I go up and view it, see, this one was translated from English to Spanish. And this is just an internal document that we created from the web team. So with this, we also included an administrative dashboard that allows us to do metrics and analytics. So we can go back in time and see over time what's being translated, with all costs associated. Also, we can add all the departments and users of this site to their own budget codes and departments and functional areas. And we can also set limits for those individual employees. So, so if a department was assigned $1,000 for translation, they could divvy that out amongst their employees or their functional programs, and then have those dollars be allocated to that individual to do translations. So. As you can see here, there's a number of documents translated. I made Shay an admin on the site. Don't delete everybody. But so then you can come in here and then see all the translations that has been made. Like I said, this is a phase 1 project for us. And because we did this custom integration for this tool, we leverage all the technology for all of the City of Spokane's projects moving forward on the website. So phase 2 would be an integration on the city's website that would allow people who could go to the city website, request an on-demand translation, and then receive that maybe in email. So that's just an example of the service that we could build on the city's website with the technology that we have deployed here today.
Awesome. Okay. Alex, anything else related to this?
Yeah, it's still very beta, and then all city staff have access to it using their login information. So kind of how you would log into your SharePoint, that's how you would use to log into this. When translating PDFs, I think some of the feedback that Josh is looking for is like which software translates, let's say, a flyer better and keeps the format right. And
so
yeah,
if there are individuals in the community who speak any other language who'd be willing to donate time to read something to make sure it's accurate, is that something we're looking for?
Right now, we created it for city employees, so you'd have to be on the city network with the
well,
city.
I just mean for us to verify and improve, and you know, so if we, you know, translate something into Czech, is there somebody who speaks Czech that could confirm that yes, it is in fact translating it correctly?
That's been our challenge. We have people who speak Vietnamese here at the city. Thuy, you've worked with Thuy in the past on the web team. We have people who speak Spanish. I do have an officer in police who speaks Russian who has dedicated some time to do some testing. But we're missing some languages, right? And I think that's something we didn't mention, is that there is no Marshallese in this application because there's just no AI translation for Marshallese. But we really do need translation volunteers to come in and double check these things. We may find that Microsoft's really good at maybe the text translations, but DeepL is much better, say, in Excel spreadsheets. But we really do need that feedback to tell us what's working where. So,
and then also the way that we write documents or format documents is part of the conversation, right? Like AI can read them differently, or where was I going with that? And then also writing them like in plain language, right?
Right.
It makes it easier to translate some documents. So all those steps matter.
Okay.
Alex and I, we met with Seattle, and they have a program that they built around SmartCat, which is a very expensive piece of translation software. We were proposing what we were going to do here at City of Spokane. Initially, they thought we wouldn't be able to do it, but after we detailed out our phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, they were very impressed. They wanted to follow our program. They wanted to see what the outcomes were going to be, because they thought it would be a very cost-effective way of doing the translations at the website, on the website.
And I hope we are still pursuing how to integrate Marshallese into this to figure out some mechanism for that.
And this is with the team, the language access team, right, and coming up with a good approach for that. We had talked about maybe a collaborative effort with the website where people could sign up as moderators or reviewers of documents to see if they can do the translations. But yeah, Marshallese is a problem.
Yeah, and the hard part with AI, you need a large number of people using it in order to improve it. And if there isn't that population contributing to it, then it's not going to improve the language translation for that language. Gotcha. So we would need a different plan.
Okay.
One last thing I'd like to add real quick, and I promise I would do this, is that Casey White is the developer that we brought on board to accomplish this. Web could not have done that with our existing staff. And so Casey White did develop all of this technology for us to use in the future, and we're very much appreciative of his time and work. So.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, any final questions?
Yeah, so is this going to be an extra budget item that we put into every department's budget, or is it going to be something where, to translate the documents, it's not free? It's not a large cost, but is that going to go specifically into your budget and then you divvy it out, or how is that going to get?
That's the conversation right now.
Okay.
I think that would be the conversation, yeah.
Okay. And then, so on languages like Marshallese, where we don't have a good AI translation for that, is there something where we could, potentially have an on-call specialist to translate those documents, and then we just keep those on file or on record?
I think that's a conversation worth having.
Yeah, particularly for the
Of
vital
what's our next
documents.
step with that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then last question, do we have plans on this for it to be ever, publicly accessible?
Exactly. That's exactly why we built this technology, is to make it publicly available on the website in the future. That's why we built it the way we did. That's why we use the technology on the back end for what we did. So.
Wonderful. One comment on that, because we, in our listening session with a group of Marshallese, many of them didn't even know how to use a computer. And so this might be a good partnership with the libraries to have maybe some specialists where if you need translation services, you're not sure how to get it done, could go to a library and our librarians can help.
Yeah, in the future, I think a collaborative effort is going to be the most successful for a translation service on the city's website. So.
Cool.
And then also for us to learn how to best communicate with each community, since they probably receive information differently.
Okay, all right. Thank you, guys.
Just a quick question. So my question is then, I know that we have larger employers. District 81 has translation services. Universities have translation services. Has there been any type of cross-pollination of Marshallese or other entities of best outcomes? I know the city, but I know they exist in other spaces. What has that looked like, or any conversations around what's working in other systems?
We have coordinated with other cities, or at least I joined like local language networks, right, or the national network. Usually AI is not the main tool that they use, right? Like there's still a lot of concern and mistrust around AI, which I think is something that we need to also keep an eye on. And how do we verify this? It has improved a lot, so that's why different cities are probably keeping an eye out on it. And the translation services is only one part of our whole language access plan, right? Like we have an interpretation piece as well that's not being touched by this. I think that there is an opportunity to also share in our community, because we continue to hear from various groups that different systems or institutions don't have a good language access plan. So how do we coordinate maybe a meeting or a conversation on like how to best, what are the tools that we're all using and how to best deploy them?
Okay. Yep, please.
Really quick, I'm glad to see that the city of Spokane is finally coming, into acknowledging folks that speak different languages. I did see one mistake on the Spanish translation, but it's not always accurate, right? My question is, do we have anything in Braille?
No. So.
Is that something we might be looking at after all this is implemented?
We've not discussed Braille.
We haven't discussed Braille. I think we're discussing some ADA updates on web that have to come up.
Yeah, there's a whole Title II ADA issue coming in 2026 that we have to address with online electronic services. And so we have to address it at that time, I'm sure. So,
yeah. All right. Thank you guys very much. Okay, Adam McDaniel, federal lobbying, and also I know there's questions about the arts as well.
Good afternoon. So on federal lobbying, this is a 3-month extension to OPR 2020-0506 for federal lobbying services. So this extension will go from January 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2025. And that should give us enough time to actually do an RFP process as we absorb the management of the federal lobbying contract.
And there's that. Any questions? No. The arts?
And the arts is for a 1-year contract. And so that would be just an extension of the current arts agreement that we've got. Part of that is an evaluation process of what kind of programming can be done in-house and some of the efficiencies that can be done through that.
Okay, so just clarity. So it is a 1-year contract as it is designed in the budget, because I know we had talked about trying to bring it in-house before the end of the year, but we're still in the discernment, the evaluation phase of that. So nothing will be different over the course of next year. I just want to make clarity on that.
So, I mean,
and is it for a year or is it for 9 months?
It's for 1 year.
For 1 year, okay.
Yeah, but if, we come through an evaluation process and there's things that we can do in-house, we could end that contract within a year.
I guess my only question is just how it compares to sort of the issues we're facing with cops. I mean, we're struggling to get a 4-month extension for an RFP process, and there's even chatter about taking that in-house. And I just wonder why the discrepancy. Why not treat cops the same as arts?
Well, for Spokane Arts, I mean, there's a municipal code section that essentially attributes 33% of the admissions tax to the Spokane Arts Commission, which essentially is a pass-through to the Spokane Arts Fund.
But we could change the code to any group could manage it.
You certainly could. That's the difference between Spokane Arts and Spokane Cops.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you. I just want to make clarity on that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, next is...
Councilmember Cathcart, we skipped number 4, the multilingual recruitment ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Andres, are you updating on that?
Yeah, thank you, Council. This ordinance is just supposed to work in conjunction with the work that Civil Service is doing. They're making it so that people who possess multilingual capabilities are more likely to get called back and a job here at the city. And so this ordinance calls for the city to establish policies and procedures to improve the recruitment and effective utilization of people who speak multiple languages here at the city. Yeah.
Is this targeted in any way to our more customer service-based programs like 311, or is it just across the city?
The language is citywide, so it just says City of Spokane.
Okay. Have we engaged with Civil Service on this, and what was their response?
Yeah, we've been working closely with Civil Service. Like I said, this kind of came about because they're updating the rules to increase the recruitment of people who speak multiple languages. So I think on the city side, it says policies and procedures. So I think of more HR and Civil Service, how do we do our outreach? The city isn't great at recruiting people that speak multiple languages, but that's not because it's impossible to do that. There's other organizations that are great at recruiting multiple people that speak multiple languages. So I think it's a matter of re-examining how we do it and targeting populations that possess those capabilities.
And have you engaged the like Local 270, the union, on that at all?
No.
It might be a good thing to interact with the guilds and the union and.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we actually met with the new HR director, Allison Adam, and we brought this up to her, and that's definitely a thing that came up a lot. Is a lot of people's contracts are different, and there's going to be a lot of nuance there. But yeah.
So I definitely would engage on that. Questions?
I was just saying, wasn't there something that came through the state level that kind of drove this particular ordinance that's before us now to add languages that English is not their first language or English second language or multilingual going forward. So we are really in alignment with how the state is proceeding forward. And my understanding is it's not like they get additional, however they score on it, there's a certain consideration for scoring for people who are multilingual.
Yeah, currently, if you are a veteran, you get extra points on like a score that when you apply to the city, and so now the state made it so that if you possess multiple languages, you also get an advantage like that. I think it's like an extra 5 points if you speak one more language, and an extra 10 if you speak multiple, something like that. But Kelsey from Civil Service would be able to answer a lot about the civil service side a lot better, but yeah, something like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Chris, you want a quick update on the COPS contract extension?
Yes, so the COPS contract expires at the end of this year. I think you all know that. There have been a lot of conversations about whether to extend that contract, for how long and for how much. This particular resolution was drafted with a very fluid conversation about how long we would extend, at how much. But basically what it does, it asks the administration to extend it for 4 months at a cost of $200,000 and authorizes the council president to execute the contract if the administration doesn't do it by December 9th. Now, the landscape may change between now and next week, given the budget conversations, but that's the way the resolution reads now.
Okay. Questions from anybody?
Yeah, just on that last part about council president being able to execute the contract, can you expand on that a little bit? Because I thought that ability for us to do that in the charter was only if the mayor was incapable.
No. Section 38 of the charter, it's an either-or proposition. The mayor can execute contracts, or the council can authorize the council president to execute a contract. There's nothing about disability in that provision.
Council President Beggs used this a couple of times.
I know, and I remember at the time.
Excuse me,
yeah.
The Primera contract,
right.
the contract to buy the Primera building was not signed by the prior administration because they were, I'm told, excited about it. And so the former council president, Brian Beggs, actually signed it. Some of you may have that history better than I, yes. But that was the exact same methodology used, was a resolution to authorize him to do that.
Yes, but I believe there was like some ambiguity in the language where it looks as if it's intended to be if the mayor is unavailable or incapable.
I could look. I don't
okay,
remember that.
We'll discuss that.
And I do know that I can tell you that Mr. Piccolo did review this particular resolution and actually inserted the reference to the charter in there. So I think it passes legal muster.
Sure.
Other questions?
Well, I just want to comment on that. After all the public comment, last week went back with Mr. Wright and also in consultation with Councilman Cathcart to extend the contract for COPS because of the outcry. But I think what I really want to get out there is COPS is a community-led organization primarily composed of volunteers. It is not a police department, and we are not defunding the police. So that narrative out there for y'all who are spreading it is incorrect. They are a 501c3 nonprofit. Now, I'm in support of extending the contract to give them more time, but as more information has come forward, I'll be doing an amendment to my own proposal here because I have learned that they do have funding They are sitting on several $100,000, so they may not need our
Well-
money to look. So it's just, that's what I heard, but we can more open for discussion going forward as to what their funding source is available, that they will not be actually having to close their doors on December 31st. So I'm just saying that there's more information to come. I think we just need more clarity. I reached out to Mr. Johnson for a more detailed budget to help us be supportive of COPS and how they go forward and what their funding looks like. And just to say there are neighborhoods who love COPS and some neighborhoods who don't have the benefit of COPS in their neighborhood. So also, are they serving the city equally across the board? So those are just some of my concerns, but I am supportive of the extension as we go forward and whatever the RFI, the RFQ, the RFP looks like from the administration to get more information to make a good decision on that.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused because are we saying that we're going to extend them for free and they can do all this work for free because they have money in the bank?
Well, Councilmember Cathcart, my thinking is if they are sitting on over, from what I understand, $200,000 in their banking account, that would cover them over 3 months because
But why would they do it for free?
Well, they're not doing it for free. That's money that the city's already given them. I mean, those are
That's work
funds
that they've already delivered for the contract that was previously signed.
Well, and that's why we're asking Mr. Johnson to really give us a more detailed budget as to, is that money encumbered? If it is, I certainly understand and willing to put more money in to cover that for 3 months. But those are some questions that have not been answered. Good, bad, or indifferent, they have not been answered, so I'm open.
Much of it is encumbered, but regardless, it doesn't matter if it's encumbered or not. You're asking them to do a free service for the city. And I think that that's completely BS. We're not asking Revive to do free service for the city. We're not asking them to tell us what's in their bank. We're not asking Arts to do free service. We're not asking what's in their bank. We're not asking Chase Youth Commission to provide free service. We're not asking what's in their bank. So I guess I really don't understand why we are so anti-cops. It's all about anti-cops.
I resent
Why?
that we are not anti-cops. Let's be clear of what we're saying.
And I'm not saying law enforcement. I'm saying
okay,
cops.
so let's be clear. It's not law
Community-oriented
enforcement.
policing services.
I just want to be clear. It's not law enforcement.
But we're
it's
treating
a
them
nonprofit
entirely
501c3
than other 501c3s that have connections to the city. And I just don't understand why we're singling them out.
We're not singling. I'm just asking for more clarity. That's what I'm asking for.
Councilmember.
Yeah, I was going to say I totally agree with Councilmember Cathcart here. I mean, if these are questions that we want to ask about, supported 501c3s from the city, I support that. I think it's good for us to have regular audits and understanding of the direction of agencies that are city funded. But if we're going to ask it of one, we should ask it of all. Because when we're not asking it of Arts, when we're not asking it of these other organizations, and we have an Arts discussion here that we just did, I think that even if it's not intended to be targeted, it gives the appearance that it's targeted. And for us as a council, I think that's a bad idea. If we want to look objective and be objective, I think it's fair that if we do it for one, we do it for all.
Right. Which is why I proposed the extension.
Any other questions? Councilmember Kliski.
Thank you. I just want to say, as we get to talking over each other and this gets more controversial, there's a lot of rhetoric flying around about this in the community, and we've all been told a lot of conflicting information about COPS. In my district, COPS is pretty well supported, but we also have what they have admitted is the best functioning COPS shops. So I think we do need to keep a open mind about how this is perceived throughout the city, and remember that we're supposed to be good stewards of the dollars for the entire city, not just for our specific districts. And we have also kind of punted or refused to make the arts a sole source already that we were talking about, Spokane Arts. And I am resistant to just making nonprofits sole sources and not having that accountability of RFPs. So this is something that I have been applying evenly myself, but we do need to be good stewards of this money, which means that we need to have expectations. And we haven't been doing that. So some of this is our fault. We've been kind of handing out these funds to certain nonprofits without having any expectation of benchmarks or performance measures or any of those things. We do need to correct that. However we do it, it needs to be fair. We need to keep talking, but let's not start insulting each other or making it about being pro or anti one or the other thing, because that's not necessarily what's happening here.
It's really just inconsistencies. I mean, we've done this already in the last 4 to 6 weeks with the agreements with Revive. We've not seen any metrics that demonstrate true outcomes, but we did it. And so now we're talking about metrics with cops, but we don't ask those questions of other agencies or organizations. We're asking about what's in their bank. We don't ask that of other organizations. All I'm saying, and I think Councilmember Bingle hit it on the head, consistency. If you're going to treat one way, treat them all that way, so that we have a fair playing ground for everybody. I think that's the sole point that's really trying to be made here.
I
Yes.
would beg to differ that we're not making Revive a sole source, and that we are requiring RFPs, and that this is kind of a different situation.
Go ahead.
I echo what Councilmember Klitsky said. If we are providing city money to 501c3s, we do ask for metrics to keep funding them. If this 501c3 organization is not servicing all of our districts, and I've shared before, District 2 is not being serviced. The past neighborhood council meetings that I've attended to, I've asked in person also to our constituents in District 2, can you share any experiences you've had if you've been to the South Stone COPS or the one up on Mount Vernon in 29th? And most of the comments that I received were that they were not there when they were needed. So not against defunding. That's the rhetoric that we want to get away with. We just want to see results that COPS is being as robust as District 3. We want to see them present in District 2 as well. Also, one thing that I'm concerned about is 20% of the funding is going to the executive director's pay. So I think that's something also that I'm a bit concerned. I'd like to revisit that, and just the math is not falling in place, how much the executive director is earning compared to what the FTEs are, and if it's ran mostly by volunteers.
Okay, well, I guess we can, and I hope we do, ask for a list of salaries of all the organizations in the future that we are going to partner with or contract with or suggest that we're going to accept an RFP from, because, again, we're laying out new metrics, new things that we have not applied to other organizations. So going forward, I just hope we're going to ask about how much money's in the bank, how much their CEO gets paid, how much their FTEs get paid. I mean, I just think it's a litany of things that we are so inconsistent on. So I understand. I want cops to serve the entire city. I want these things to be right. I just want everything to be fair across the board and not be picking favorites, which feels like we do a lot of times on this dais. So anything else?
And I'll just echo, this came up because when the police was asked to do their 10% budget reduction, internally, they were looking at, they have a volunteer coordinator in the police department already. Are they in partnership with COPS? So this bubbled up. It wasn't like we were like, let's go get them. This kind of came from the ground up as to be reviewed, looked at, potential partnerships, how it can be reshaped. I don't know, but it wasn't targeted. And once it was brought to our attention, I think it deserves our attention going forward. So again, I've made the proposal to extend the contract. It gives us that window of time to review all the things that have been discussed up here today and to get the answers I think we all need to make the best decision to fund, continue, or if there's some other organization that comes forward to meet our needs, then we would look at that as well.
Okay, last comment, we got to move.
Yeah, I would say I'm sure there were a lot of ideas in the budget discussion that came up and were immediately rejected, and I think that this is probably one of those that should have been immediately rejected.
All right, so next up, public records ordinance. So a couple years ago, Council President Beggs had introduced an ordinance that would essentially require that we post public records that are requested. And this was his ordinance at the time was primarily focused on body cam and things of that nature, which are very challenging for redaction purposes, and a lot of stuff goes into that. So I revised the ordinance in a way that really just focuses on public records that do not require selective redaction, and suggesting that those should be required to be posted so that our clerks don't have to reproduce the same documents over and over again. When selective redaction is required, it makes it more challenging because depending on the requester, different things might need to be redacted, which makes it very difficult to post publicly in that way. And so I really narrowed this down to a very narrow sliver, at least to start. The idea being that just trying to create more efficiencies in public records and the ability for more of the public to access those sorts of documents. And this was something that's been talked about in different ways for a few years now. And so trying to bring this forward is something to consider in the new year. And Chris has helped me to revise it. Chris, I don't know if there's anything you want to add with regards to the ordinance.
The last draft I have actually also governs the city's boards and commissions.
Yeah, and that might get split into two. I was debating on that. But the other piece to this, too, is requiring a broader mandate to film and stream our various boards, commissions, committees, et cetera. But it might be broken up into two different ordinances. I'm thinking about that. Yes, please.
So are we posting, like if someone does a public records request that doesn't require redactions, are we posting online? Or are we just saving our work? What are we doing?
So the idea would be it would be essentially in a database accessible to the public. And it exists now with the GovQA. It's just not utilized. And so, yeah, so if it's just a document that had to be produced through a public records request and there's no redactions, or the redaction is universal, then it would be posted on this database so anybody in the public could then access it, at least for a period of time, and that can be debated.
And I think Mr. Lady, even in his public or open forum, requested something like this or mentioned something like this. I think it's a great idea because, we were the subject of I think it might have been Inlander, who looked at our response on public records versus other cities around the country. And we were a little bit slower than they are. So anything we can do to help get that out quicker. And if it is just like if a similar request is coming out for the same thing, we don't need to go over and do the work over and over and over again. We can just have one thing that we're able to release. So,
yeah. Other questions? Okay. Next up is Accounting and Grants Department. Matt, is Matt here? Oh, Michelle.
Good afternoon, thank you. This is just a change in the SMC, removing the word grants from the accounting department and making the director of the department, the director, back to the director of accounting.
Questions?
Yeah. Can you say that again?
So it's an SMC change where a couple years ago, 3 years ago, we changed the title to the accounting department to be accounting and grants, and then the director of that department was called the director of accounting and grants. This is dropping the grants piece.
So what are we doing with grants then?
It will be done by other staff. They're going to focus on trying to build a centralized grants department.
Okay. I'll just quickly say, I think we should invest heavily in our grants, whatever they are. People going out there finding us money, making us money. Love it. Love the idea. I've been talking about this for a few years now. I think it's incredible. Have some people go get us money. Love it. Staff it. Staff it. I mean, take 20. Staff it. Yeah.
All the grants we can handle.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions, thoughts? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to jump down here real quick just to make sure we can get stuff in here. Jason, is Jason here? Oh, there we go. If you want to do the Small Works roster for us. And then Jessica Stratton, I'll have you go next.
Sure. Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. Jason Nikonoski, Director of Purchasing and Contracts. I'm not here very often, so thought a helpful introduction might work. So this is ordinance to update the SMCs related to Small Works roster and limited public works. This is to realign us with legislation that passed in the 2022-2023 legislative session that went into effect July 1, 2024. So the big change is limited public works went away. And then more updating on the Small Works roster, cleaning up some of the language to align with the new SMC and take advantage of the increase in limit for public threshold from 300,000 to 350,000.
Okay, questions on that?
No? I think Councilmember Bingle had a question on a separate item. Sure.
Yeah, and I emailed you about this. So on the arborist contract, it said the lowest responsible bidder. Can you tell me what responsible means?
Sure, yeah. So responsible bidders or responsible bid is typically we use that in any kind of public works. That's when it's most clear. And that is for the bidder who has demonstrated the minimum experience requirements that were in the solicitation. So for example, in an arborist, they have to have the appropriate license to do work on trees, and then have also demonstrated that they either have all of the appropriate licenses or are able to get those appropriate licenses prior to the contract starting.
So then when you're looking at that bidding process, I think you said there was 4, so they were the lowest of the 4. Could there have been like 6 that came in, but 2 of them were not responsible, and so then they were not?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So in some cases, those are pass-fail criteria.
Okay.
And so we would have noted that if in our bid summary to you folks, that if it was we received 6, we rejected 2 for not being compliant to either the responsive or responsible requirements.
Wonderful.
So,
thank you.
and that's general part and parcel. So we may not always bring that up in our language, but that's true for all procurements that we manage above our competitive threshold.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jessica?
All right, good afternoon. So what you have under your consent there is a packet of 5 year-end SBOs for this fiscal year, 2024, because the last day a local government can amend its budget is December 31st of that budget year. So ensuring the city's various funds will end the year at or under the budget appropriations you've set is a best practice that the budget office engages in. It's, as with everything we do, a little bit difficult because we have cash accounting during the year, and then we also have a required by law 20-day period after the close of a fiscal year where we can continue to pay previous years' bills, payments, whatever they are. So it gets a little tricky. We have 95 active funds that we have to review. And to do so timely, we put together like a financial model, and we try to figure out which fund is spending down at a faster pace than maybe the budget would dictate. So this year, in addition to those 2 public safety SBOs that you've already approved for the year end, we have these 5. The first one is for the Communications Building Maintenance and Operations Fund. So this fund was created in 2018 to receive fees from the CCB occupants to expend on maintaining the building that they were occupying through an interlocal agreement. However, the interlocal agreement expired at the end of 2020, and the non-city occupants haven't been paying. So slowly this fund is becoming insolvent because you occupy a space, there's going to be repairs and maintenance that are needed. Currently, it's just PD that's paying to occupy the space. So it is estimated the fund will need about $30,000 in increased budget just to pay their 2024 bills. And this leaves about $800,000 in that fund's fund balance. That's the first one. Next, the Financial Partnership Fund. So this was used as a pass-through fund solely just to do the parking debt restructuring that you guys are aware of. So it was done through this fund instead of another. So this is honestly just a true-up to make sure that the budget and the actuals are in the fund lined up. Workers' comp. This is one of the city's self-insured funds, and it needs an increase in budget to ensure that claims are paid timely. Honestly, it's assumed that the cost of medical services has just risen. It's a little hard to go through their accounting. We have like hundreds of transactions, but we don't know if that's 10 claims, 100 claims. We don't know. The fleet fund needs a budget to increase the needs of their customers, mostly for compressed natural gas and just regular repairs and maintenance. As our fleets, wherever they are located, age, fleets has a demand that's increased over time. Also, they would like to take the revenue they receive from NAPA and apply it to an additional debt payment. So they just need expense authority to do that. And then finally, the hotel motel tax. It needs an increase to increase their expense budget solely to pass on the collected lodging tax to the PFD.
Do you expect any further SBOs to be coming forward for 2024?
No.
Okay. And where do you believe this leaves us in terms of reserves and just kind of where we're at?
So general fund reserves should stay about where we believe they're going to end for where they ended for 2023. It's like 12, 13 million. General fund right now, how it's going to end 2024, it looks like it might not even contribute to a retained earnings. Again, it's very difficult to tell because of cash accounting and how much activity happens during period 13. But nothing too alarming, again, thanks to the police year-end SBO that was already approved.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything? All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Michelle, I should have had you go when you were down here. I didn't realize you were doing the ARPA. And then right after Michelle, we will have Caleb.
Good afternoon. Thank you again. This is just a resolution to, so we got our ARPA funds and we got $80 million and we've got most of it allocated and almost all of it's encumbered. I'm super excited to see all the zeros on my spreadsheet that says I don't have to account for this anymore. But this is a resolution because we have like small buckets. Like we had the parks amenities, basically they spent all but like $36.44. And then we have another line item that's got like $323 in it. And then there's another one that's got like $705. This is a resolution that as of December 9th, when it gets passed, it will allow me to sweep all those little tiny amounts and just put it to where I feel it needs to go. And it's more than likely going to be Station 1 HVAC.
And how much do you see in these few $100 coming together?
Right now, today, I calculated $1,100.
$1,100 total?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, we're not giving $1,100 or a dime back to the federal government. We're going to spend all this.
I'm trying my hardest.
Right. You're doing great. You're doing great.
That's
right.
That's right. Okay. If nothing else, thank you so much. Caleb, if you can be as expeditious as possible, I'd appreciate it, but we definitely want to hear all the information.
Yeah, afternoon. Today I have Mike Anthony with me here today to give an update on the ARPA pre-apprenticeship program. After 2 years, that contract has come to an end through ARPA funds, so he's going to tell about some of the great work that's happened.
Great.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you for your time. So the Head Start to Construction Trades program, which the city has funded in one way, shape, or form since 2015. This current class, which graduates December 11th, is our 49th cohort that we've done since then. And just some highlights of that. I know that there's other programs out there that you may be familiar with, but what sets our program apart is we not only get our graduates jobs in the construction industry, we don't have a line where they feed all union programs or they feed non-union contractors. In all honesty, we don't care where they go to work as long as they go to work. We have a 90% graduation rate. I should back up. In those 49 classes, we are nearing 750 students that have gone through the program. 90% graduation rate. Of that 90% graduation rate, 65% are employed, with 40% of those going into some form of a skilled trade apprenticeship program. A lot of things that the individuals have done. We've done a number of community service projects. We've done some sidewalk repairs up in the Indian Trail neighborhoods. We've done some work at Transitions. We actually did a little work at the Carl Maxey Center a few years ago. We've done some work at the Fresh Soul Restaurant when that program was going. We've even had some of our graduates, actually, what I like about our partnership is the city put their money where their mouth is, or put their mouth where their money is. And we've had several individuals go to work for the city. Public Works Department, in the administration department here also, and also in the Parks Department. So proud of that. We have many community partners that we work with. Salvation Army, Spokane County, Pioneer Human Services, United Way. And I guess the one thing I really want to point out is with the ARPA funds, which we were granted 2 years, which is the contract that's getting ready to expire, That was aimed at working with justice-involved individuals. In our contract, we guaranteed that every class that we held, we would hold 5 spots for justice-involved individuals. Well, that got blown out of the water probably about the second class of that. Now most of our, I'm going to say 95% of our students are in some way, shape, or form justice-involved. And what I'm really proud of, I give you some statistics on employment, things like that, but one of the things that I'm really proud of is our rate of recidivism is under 5%. That is phenomenal, phenomenal. What a great number. Some of our individuals, just to kind of throw out, have gone to work on city contracts because of the city's apprenticeship utilization requirements and having to have apprentices on those city jobs. You've seen these guys and ladies. Post Street Bridge, you know, the North Spokane Corridor, Washington Stevens bridges that just got done. They've worked on the rain collector tanks, schools, all the infrastructure projects, the new stadium, the airport, Phelps Field, Riverfront Park, the U District, Fairchild, the Washington Stevens bridges, and out at Eastern. Those are just some of the projects that our students have graduated to and gone to, making living wage jobs, which in turn has turned them into tax-paying citizens, homeowners in our area, and they also now have a disposable income so they can come in and they can spend their money with businesses here in Spokane. So our program is proven. It does what it says it's going to do. And I want to reiterate what Councilman Bingle said was go out and find those grants, because we're looking for grants right now. And like I said, we do what we say we do. We're proving that we can spend down the money. My understanding is there may be some ARPA funds left in the bank that you guys need to spend. We already have a contract, and I'd be more than willing to extend that contract to see if we could help you spend down some more of that money. I'll just throw it out. We're looking for a couple $100,000 for another year. And we'd be very appreciative if the council could find that for us. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions, Councilman?
Mostly, I just want to thank you, Mike, and AGC. I've been to a number of the graduations, and something I didn't expect were there was a lot of emotional moments in there from families getting together, or people thanking. AGC and the different organizations for a second chance, or a third chance or whatever. And it was actually really cool. I remember at one of them there was even a judge in attendance, and it was great to see that this program was helping people to turn their lives around and give them a shot at, again, a living wage job. And I don't know many programs that are as successful as what you guys are doing. And so I think you're doing a terrific job. As far as the couple $100,000 from ARPA, I'm not so sure that is there, but I will say for me, I would love to find a way to help support you guys because I think you're doing a great job.
Council President?
I was just going to comment that I've been to a couple of graduations, and I'm impressed by the number of women who are graduating from the trades. I think you've probably been one of the most successful organizations in delivering women into what had traditionally been a very male-dominated industry, and I think that is absolute growth in that area. So for that, in an environment that's very supportive of them. So thank you for that. We just heard $1,100. That's a long way from $200,000, but
we'll
something to muddle over. So thank you again for your work.
And thank you for that. We're very proud of the females that come through our program also. We work very hard to get them on board and get them into the industry. So, thank you.
I just have one more comment for you. So thank you so much for the data that you've given. That's, our prime example of the data we want to hear for money that's coming from the city. Now, do your graduates also work for Habitat for Humanity?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I forgot to mention that. Yes, we do work with Habitat.
Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, I had the fortune of visiting a rehabilitated home for a new family that just purchased it. While we did the tour of that home, it's just amazing the work that your graduates do. The feedback that we got from the director of Habitat for Humanity, all the windows, just energy efficient that the family's going to save. And he also shared that the graduates have jobs lined up even before they graduate. So great work. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Eric, legislative priorities. And then Chris Jacoby on deck.
How much time would you like me to spend?
As quickly as you can, but you have up to 10 minutes.
Okay. I guess I just wanted to start up by reminding this group, these are the recommendations from the legislative team, and we work on a consensus basis. We don't really take votes, despite Councilmember Bingle's best efforts in our meetings. I was going to run down all the participants in the group, but it's 3 council members, your policy staff, many of the administration's staff, including Adam McDaniel and department heads. So again, it's a well-rounded group. We strive for consensus between the council and administration. And what they have recommended as priorities, we don't have to go through all these issues, are the 5 items before you. I wanted to give just a brief legislative update so you kind of know what we're up against. Conventional wisdom was that the legislature was going to veer left and it'd be even more partisan than it has been previously. That didn't really turn out to be the case. The House added 1 Democratic seat. The Senate added 1 Democratic seat. So it's still a pretty big split with 59 to 39 in the House, 30 to 19 in the Senate. And interestingly, fun fact, only 3 of our state's 49 districts have both Democrats and Republicans in their legislative delegations. So, I mean, it's a very partisan environment. Some news from the past couple days that is good for Spokane. Senator Riccelli will be the floor leader in the Senate in a leadership position. Having leaders in the delegation has really helped us in the past couple years. So we have a new state representative, so just a very different landscape than we've had previously. And from my standpoint, it's going to be a very daunting session, more so than any other time I've been with the city, for a couple reasons. The legislature is expecting an $8 to $10 billion budget shortfall based on revenue and caseload forecasts. That's a big deal. It's going to make it a lot harder for the city to secure dollars from the state in both the operating budget and the capital budget. And unlike past sessions, we will have organized opposition to some of the issues in our priority list. That's not frequently the case. Typically, it's very feel-good stuff. We just need heavy lifting from our legislators, and we've gotten there on some big stuff. But this year, I think if you look up at the list, the first 2 issues, and we've talked about this a lot over the past few months when I've given legislative updates, so I know these are not new issues to you, but the first 2 issues will have significant organized opposition. Our approach to waste to energy is a environmental justice message. Other parts of the state don't want to ship in, a county's worth of refuge to other parts of the state, and severe economic impacts on ratepayers in our county if we continue to be penalized by Climate Commitment Act provisions, looking at an estimated $6 to $8 million a year, which equates to $150 per household if we continue on the path of not having an exemption like landfills do to the CCA, which is the approach that the group is hoping to take. The second issue, SHREC issues abound. You're very familiar with them. The legislative team recommends looking at the financial issue of excise tax going exclusively to SHREC and a portion of it not coming back to the city for Spokane police dispatch. This was legislation that Rep. Ormsby introduced last session. He's agreed to do it again this year, so it's not a new issue for the legislature, and maybe we'll make more headway because of that. The third issue is fairly technical. Different parts of the state provide periodic updates to the GMA. They rotate, and other jurisdictions have been able to get a 6-month extension so that their plan commissions can do more public engagement on the new climate and housing provisions of the GMA. The city of Spokane seeks the same, and municipalities in the county are in agreement with that and will help us lobby that issue. Land value tax, we got a great presentation on this topic at last Thursday's study session. It's going to be a new issue for a lot of legislators, but as I looked around the room at that day, great to see eyes opening like, oh, this is interesting. This could help us deal with problems related to infill and land speculating. So we're hoping to have a similar session in Olympia to begin that education process. And then lastly, a short list of capital budget projects. This list always grows as the year and the session goes on. I think you're familiar with everything up there. The last 2 projects, Meadow Glen and Coeur d'Alene Park, have already been approved by the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program. And so it's just a matter of making sure there's enough funding in the budget to capture those. We typically adopt the AWC priorities as well as priorities of the city, and those are before you there, and there's more elaborate information about that in your packets. And then the council doesn't typically approve the significant issues. We used to call them tier 2 issues, but I wanted you to get a sense of what we're looking at right now as a point in time. This is another list that changes frequently as bills die and new bills come to life, but these are all topics that the legislative committee has been talking about and is looking at to support as we kick off the session. So I think I got it with a minute and a half to go.
Are there questions, comments? Only thing for me, just thinking out loud, cryptocurrency, we're actually voting on that. Why would that be tier 2 and not a tier 1 if we're going to go so far as to take a specific vote endorsing that measure?
I guess I'll try not to speak for everyone on the legislative team. I think because this is sort of a greater statewide effort and not a Spokane specific issue, that's kind of how they delineate between the 2 tiers. It's not necessarily that this is less important than a priority. It just means we're part of a greater coalition of interests pursuing this. So that's typically why issues wind up there on that list. So,
all right. And that's really kind of where we're willing to take the lead when we distinguish between what we call a tier 1 or significant issues and a tier 2. We're really ready to get out front and lead the charge on that. So I just want to go back up to our capital budget request. Had heard from our police department about that money is for our training center out there that came in short due to inflation costs and delays. Really leaning in heavy on that to get that across the finish line since it's been started going forward. Of course, the other requests are up there, but I want to know that's what that request is specifically for. It's for the training center for the police department.
Okay, and I'll
pass. I know that's extra special to you, Council President. So
I know
will,
you do it in there.
Go forth as such.
Yeah. Eric, I'll have some questions for you offline about a few things, but appreciate the update. And
awesome.
Okay, Chris, we'll have you go, and Jacoby, you'll be coming up.
I'll keep it quick if that's okay. I passed out to each of you a chart outlining the proposed changes to the council rules. I don't know if Shay will be able to pull up the chart, but it's just lists a variety of changes. A lot of them are pretty mundane and fairly technical. Some of it was wordsmithing. We thought things could be phrased a little bit better. A few of them respond to issues that came up through the year. One of the best examples is the whole question of what you can say about ballot measures when the council has passed a resolution supporting or opposing a measure, and we simply put that language into the rules. Some of the bigger items, I think, that are more public-facing for folks, we've gotten rid of the executive committee in this draft, and we're just down to a chair and a vice chair, and it takes one council member to get something on a committee agenda, 2 council sponsors to have it emerge from committee. More public-facing, we're going to be inviting the public to talk at committees, to testify. I think, I don't know what this draft, I know we talked about it, is actually limiting the amount of testimony to 30 minutes at committee. 15 speakers, 2 minutes, something like that. But the committee function stays largely the same. You don't necessarily take action other than to confirm sponsorships and let things move on to the council agenda.
But the duration of committees would likely lengthen, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
This document doesn't make the adjustment to move committee times up, but that has been a conversation. And this draft in the committee packet also does not limit testimony at committee to 30 minutes. But I think that's also been a conversation so that we have some sort of idea of when those committees will end, so we can transition to briefing or an agenda review session and then ledge.
More public-facing changes. Public testimony on legislative items in this draft is reduced from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. So everything's 2 minutes when you're up at the podium, whether you're at open forum or speaking to the consent agenda or speaking to a particular legislative item. Open forum does not change at all under this draft. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else major. Some of them changes are going to be internal and of interest to council members, but those are the main ones.
Okay. Jacoby, anything else that jumps out at you that we should talk about or just mention?
No, I can touch on a couple of things if we have time for me to give an update on what I'm working on.
Okay. Questions or comments? Only thing I would say is I'm fine with the 2 minutes on everything, except I just think final reading on items should still be 3 minutes. But consent, special considerations, committee, all open forum, all those other forums, I'm totally fine with the 2. I just think final reading should be 3. But that's just my thought. Jacoby?
I was just going to talk about the code changes. There's the next item here.
Another one?
Those are really all technical changes, and the briefing paper does a pretty good job of just outlining what they are. We got rid of some specific language we don't need in code regarding our committees. Everything's fashioned by the rules, and we just make it fashioned by the rules. Get rid of a couple of obsolete references, and we do take out the language that requires 3 town halls at a year. Actually, I think it might say 4 now. Yeah. And we just say they're permitted, but we don't say a minimum number. And we also changed the code to reflect that you could testify at committees. So.
Okay. Are there questions on the SMC change? And when will that be coming forward?
Everything's on the same timeline for December 9th, proposed adoption.
Okay. Okay, Jacoby?
Chair Cathcart and Council, thanks for having me. I am briefing first the Council President's proposal for Board and Commission updates. We go through this process annually and sometimes more frequently than annually when we get new members to amend or adopt for the year your board and commission appointments, both internally on our work groups that we ad hoc create, or commissions like Plan Commission, and then of course things like the Airport Board and PDA boards, et cetera, that we have interlocal agreements that tie you all to being a part of those boards. So this is the proposed update for 2025. You'll notice that the chair and vice chair sections are blank across all committees, and the council president pro tem is blank. Those are still pending additional feedback to council president. So if you have a desire to serve as a chair, vice chair on a particular committee, please let both she and I know within the week. Nothing else has changed besides adding the Transportation Commission, on which you guys are all liaisons, and removing appointments like the Parking Advisory Committee that have been absorbed into traffic calming. Yeah.
Okay. And that's also the 9th, correct?
It's also the 9th, yep.
Okay. And do we, Council President,
I was just going to say, we've got this queued up. None of this is in stone, but we just got it in the pipeline. So as we make these appointments or adjustments, it can continue to go because we have to vote on it.
Do you anticipate filling in those blanks by the 2nd?
I do. Okay. So a couple of y'all have sent an email too, so please respond to me.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Just for the interest of time, I think we are going to skip the updates for today. We can do it at briefing if there's a desire, but other than that, I think we will adjourn the meeting and give everybody a few minutes at least before briefing. So, meeting adjourned.
Thank you. See you at 3:30.